91.9 FM. 16 minutes after 1. Time for a little bit of medical. Well, it's not a little bit. It's quite a nice bit of Medical Mondays. Episode 10.
A whole lot of Medical Mondays.
A lot of Medical Mondays. Episode 10 today, we're talking about wellness meets the workplace. Today, Dr. Dave Bernhardi breaks down how businesses can use CareFirst virtual healthcare to give to employees accessible, affordable care. Right, Dr. Bernhardi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. Yes.
The man with the best smile.
For the last time that you weren't going to have me back on the show.
We were always going to have you back.
Like I was wondering, I didn't get an invite. I thought it was in the post.
No.
No, it's the smile. The smile was everything.
But smile doesn't work on radio.
Exactly, that's why you're back.
Oh, I thought you were about to say he's got a face for radio.
No, I have the face for radio.
No, you've got a
There's
face
only
for
one
TV.
person with
If they had top billing, you would have been the perfect presenter.
No, Michael Mole beat me to
Yeah, you need to do that. Tonight, on Top Billing, you need to do something like that. First tape.
Maybe you should get him to practice
Yeah.
this afternoon on the Good Day Exchange.
Yeah.
Medical Monday.
Yeah, well, okay.
There we go.
Right, Dave, shall we dive right in?
Yeah, perfect.
Right, our first question, what problems are South African businesses trying to solve first with the virtual healthcare in terms of absenteeism, late, good care or costs?
Yeah, and I think it's a very good question to start the Medical Mondays with. But so I think business looking at giving their staff access to medical care.
Yes.
And the reason being that, if they're not on a medical aid, which is hellishly expensive nowadays, if we all know that, if they're not on a medical aid, they're reliant on the government sector for that. And, if you're not in the queue at 4 o'clock in the morning at the clinic to hopefully see a nursing sister or a doctor, you get turned away.
Absolutely.
So that's the first sort of stumbling block that happens. And then the staff member's not coming to the office. They're then spending their day there, seeing the doctor, collecting their medication, and then on the way home, they didn't get given a sick note, so the poor guy then arrives the next morning to get to back to work, and it doesn't have a sick note, so he stops on the way home and purchases one, obviously legally, at the local sort of taxi rank where they have these facilities available, and they turn around and say, well, we've got 10 of these from the same doctor, supposedly, so therefore you're not getting your day's leave, so you lose your pay. So it's unpaid leave. So I think it's really is the access to medical care that they're looking at.
Yes.
Cost obviously is a big factor. The guys are then spending 2 or 3 days not at work, so you're having to replace that work member. And that's a double cost, that you then incurring there from that side. And then, obviously they're not always getting better in the right time.
Yeah.
So that always becomes a problem.
So, we're talking about costs, coverage and cost.
Yeah.
What plans do companies choose, and what does it roughly cost per employee?
Sure.
Especially where there is the absence of medical aid.
Yeah. So what we've looked at is two sort of cost ways to go about it. It's a fee for service. So if you're not wanting to take out a subscription type model, which is the other model that we have, you pay for the service as and when you need it. And it's a discounted fee. So what we've done with a lot of the companies is we've given them a bit of both. So they come in and we put all their staff onto a fixed model where they're paying on a monthly basis and are receiving a certain number of consultations that they are able to utilize, not only for the staff member but also for their dependents, the staff members' dependents, which is actually really nice. So it's not
smart, man.
Not just limited to the actual employee at work, but for their families as well, and for obvious reasons, they're needing to take a family responsibility day. to then have to take their little one to the hospital, whereas now they can do that using the virtual healthcare platform. And that's on a subscription model.
Yes.
Once you've used up, and we give then a certain number of consultations over a 12-month period, and then if you've used those all up on a fee-for-service basis, so you can purchase those online as and when you need them.
Are there, sorry, come on. Are there different tiers to this this sort of package that you're giving to companies?
No. So every company is the same, and we've kept it at very, very low costs. And I think that's what we're looking at here. This is not a medical aid. It's not a medical
gap cover or anything like that.
It's not gap cover or anything along those lines. It's really to be able to provide access to the staff members.
So if it's not a medical aid, and we already know that it's almost for little to nothing, how does it then actually work step by step, from booking to script to results, and how fast is the typical wait?
Sure. Okay. So what we do is we onboard clients as such. So I'm going to take 91.9 as an example. You've got 10 staff or 15 staff. We would then create a white label platform for you. So with your logos and everything. So it's effectively 91.9's doctors or doctor that they have available to them on their cell phone. We then upload all of the members, the staff members onto the platform. We then go through a training process with them where we train them how it works.
Amazing.
Very simple. We obviously do it in person or even online. As well as then providing them with documentation around that, so they can always read and follow up, like the instruction manual that we all read when we buy the new TV set.
I just leave it in the box.
And ring it as time goes.
Absolutely. I did that this weekend. Was building a thing of shelves, so they don't look the same as the box. But,
it never does.
It does, yeah. But so the whole training that goes into that, and then literally onboard those patients. So there's a verification process to ensure that the member is actually loaded onto the system. So they verify themselves and then really are good to go. They literally within 60 seconds can be talking to the doctor face to face on a virtual screen. So very, 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 very quick. We've got they go into a waiting room. So and we've sort of set out our targets at a 2-minute maximum of 2-minute waiting time, which is obviously far better than what you would get even in the GP rooms.
Yeah, of course. In terms of impact on productivity, do you have examples where virtual healthcare has reduced sick days or shortened the recovery time? Not only like sort of on that, but on the sort of mental health front in terms of work as well.
Yeah. So I think it gives them a sort of the possibility of getting an earlier diagnosis. So the earlier any disease, the earlier you can treat it, the better the outcome and the quicker the outcome is going to be. So I think that's quite important. You're not waiting for the next day or the day thereafter to get access to the doctor. So you're getting them very, very quickly. And especially after hours. I mean, I think majority of us are working. We're getting home at 6, 7 o'clock.
Get time off, etc.
Absolutely. So you're getting home and the little one's sick. You're not having to take a family responsibility day the next day, as an example. And you're able to then have that consultation and get that little one or yourself sorted out a lot quicker from that side. Yeah, the disease is going to be the disease.
Absolutely.
We're not going to change the outcomes from that perspective.
Sure.
You will go through the right process, but you're getting the correct advice, correct medication a lot quicker. And obviously then the correct sick notes and those sort of things are important. So you're not getting fraudulent sick notes that are booking, especially 100%. In the work environment, we are booking the employee off for extraordinary long periods of time. It's governed and it's regulated, which is good.
Do my last question before we hit a musical break. Do sort of obviously since the evolution of virtual healthcare, are there employers that you've encountered or people that you've encountered that go, I don't know how legitimate this is, I'm not going to accept a sick note from somebody who saw a doctor online?
So no. So I mean, from that perspective, we obviously governed from a POPIA protection
Gotcha.
perspective, so there's no problems from that side. And then obviously the sick notes carry all the correct and legislated information with practice numbers, registered doctors, etc., etc. So from that perspective, no, there's no queries on those sick notes and that sort of thing. Obviously, people will always phone in and or employees sometimes will question
The validity
well, not so much the validity, but the disease, and is it appropriate to be booked off for such a period of time? But I think once you've explained that, the sort of the risk potentially to other staff members, the risk to the patient themselves, they generally understand it. So we don't get a lot of that, but it's available there. So and that's the beauty with this.
I suppose governance is everything, right?
100%.
We can take a little music break. When we come back, I will talk a little bit more about privacy and POPIA Act.
Absolutely.
Good.
One on your route today. Drive politely. 919.
91.9 FM, Natalie and Brullier. Suppose it's an appropriate song. You need to go to a doctor if you're torn.
You can trust Paul to throw in a jig of that caliber.
Right, welcome to Medical Mondays, powered by First Care Solutions. Dr. Dave Bernhardi talking about virtual healthcare for companies and how all of it works. You want to jump right in?
Yes.
Off you go.
Just before we took our musical break, you had just on the face of it mentioned about the POPIA Act, and Paul also said, let's take a deeper dive, because then there's the issue of privacy, right?
Sure.
Who can see employee notes, and how do you separate HR or the manager access to all this clinical data?
I mean, the short answer to that is they don't have access. So I think, obviously, from a POPIA Act, we're very compliant from that sort of perception.
Yeah.
And then obviously from a doctor-patient confidentiality, obviously that comes into it in a big way. The beauty with the virtual healthcare platform is you can do it in the confines of your bedroom, your own home, where you're not obviously exposed, it's not sitting in a waiting room where other people are seeing you, etc., etc. So I think that's important. And then from a consultation that happens, none of the consultations are recorded at all. So obviously there's a video link, but we don't record any of those at all. And then every patient gets an electronic medical record that is created. Obviously, from a medical legal perspective, we need that.
Yeah.
But only the doctor and the patient have access to that. So even myself, as the sort of commercial director for the company, does not have access to those patient files. On the platform, the patient has his record. So should they, in a year's time, want to obviously access that, it's all on the platform. They can actually then go in and see their history, what was prescribed, what the condition was, etc., etc. It obviously provides for continuity of care, so that's quite important as well, especially in sort of cost containment. You're able to then look on the file and say, okay, Paul, as an example, you were here 3 weeks ago, you had pneumonia, we did a chest x-ray, I see you had pneumonia, and these were the medications, for example, that were treated. So I'm going to give you something else, or it's a different condition. So you're able to obviously have that continuation of care for the patient itself. But only you and the patient, your doctor and you as the patient have access to that. So no HR, nothing along those lines.
Very safe.
Because they can be nosy. The next thing you know, your fellow colleague is like saying, "Hey, I heard you had diarrhea."
Yeah. Look, and I think that's the other important thing is we send.
That was
it actually happened. I had to go that far because it's happened where I was in a workplace.
Out now.
Yeah.
That is what happens. But that's what HR people do.
No.
We're teaming up,
That's why we had to actually take a musical break.
Go away and make me blush now.
Close the side.
Sorry, let me bring the seriousness back. So, now I've lost my train of thought.
HR will not be involved, no matter what the reason.
Even the sick notes and the scripts are sent directly to the patient. So nothing goes to HR. I mean, if obviously the patient wants us to send it to HR from a sick note perspective, but we obviously don't send that unless requested and consent obviously from the patient themselves.
Dave, chronic care at scale. How do you work with keeping workers with hypertension, diabetes, asthma on track? Reminders, scripts, sort of home visits, not home visits, but sort of like home readings, that kind of stuff.
Sure. So part of the scan that we have, or part of the platform, is a vital scan. So we have a facial scan there, which is done prior to every consultation, and it's a 60-second scan of your face using your camera. Sorry, my phone's ringing in and out. It's not a patient. So.
Yeah, to clear that up quickly, didn't you?
So we have the facial scan, which 60 seconds using your camera on your phone and using technology called photoplasmography, where they look at capillary refill in the blood vessels in your face. We're able to get blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate, oxygen saturation, and a hemoglobin HbA1c, which really helps in the assisting in the diagnosis, but it also gives us some vital measurements like blood pressure, as you mentioned, with the chronic diseases. And the patient has that on their platform as well, that they can actually use that themselves without seeing a doctor to measure their blood pressures and things. Obviously, that then starts the program, and we are developing programs for managing these chronic diseases, which is quite important. Patient education, follow-up, regular follow-ups, reminders that they must take their medication. I mean, compliance with chronic medication is a big problem. So there's that sort of side of it that comes into it, and then obviously the regular checkups and the regular following. And we encourage, not only, virtual healthcare has a role to play in it, but it's also important to see the doctor physically for certain checkups that can't be done, obviously on a vital scan or on a vital consultation.
Speaking of can't be done, right? What about the hard to reach teams, right?
Sure.
What is available? Because virtual can go left or it can go really right. So for people, what are the low data or voice only options that are available for shift workers, drivers, or remote sites?
Sure. So what we've got on the platform is, I just sort of almost a redundancy. So obviously the best is a virtual consultation, and you have an option there. Either it's a virtual instant consultation or a virtual scheduled consultation. So you can book an appointment tomorrow. So I'm traveling today. My network or my signal is not going to be great. I know tomorrow I'm at home and I've got good signal. I can schedule an appointment for 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. 9:45, our admin support zone will phone you to check that you still on track for the consultation, and it obviously happens from that side. Obviously, then the default is a telephone call. So, and again, if you can't connect, you still have the availability to do the telephone call, and it's a teleconsultation. Obviously, you don't have the benefits of the visual
scans stuff,
and that sort of thing there, but you can still do the call, which is great. And again, admin support and our tech team support. If the call gets dropped, they phone you back. They'll follow up from that side. The other thing is it's a very low data utilization platform. So, and in fact, we are in discussions with Vodacom at the moment to have it zero rated on the data side.
That's really dope.
Which really makes it great. The remote sites, just an interesting. We've just signed up a client in Botswana who is who runs a tourist company up in the Okavango Delta. Obviously, access is literally via our friend Elon Musk with Starlink. And they have Starlink at all of their sort of camps or lodges, and the guys are able to access it through that, and pretty much with the sort of the speed that they are able to get up there, they're able to have those. And that's the beauty, is it's the remote areas that allow it, where there isn't medical access.
Sure. Talking about companies coming on board, sort of onboarding a company, in terms of what does month one look like in terms of training, comms, toolkits, languages supported, success metrics, that kind of stuff?
So I think what we've found is the onboarding process is critical to this. So it's generally education beforehand. We get the companies a lot of information that they are, before we even go live with them, where they are distributing this out to their staff. We do the training before they go live. We make sure that they're all onboarded, that they know how it works, that they've tested it, and then obviously set a go live date as such.
Yes.
So we've found that that's been very successful,
Okay.
and that's critical to that, because you do want the guys to verify themselves, get themselves onto the platform before they use it. You don't want them
of course.
scrambling around
Sure.
at 9 o'clock at night trying to get onto the system, et cetera, et cetera. We've sorted out, we've ironed out all the little issues and little problems. It's often is the settings that they sometimes need to change on their phone.
Of course.
Up the voice or whatever it is.
Yes.
And simple stuff. I mean,
Yes.
it's been designed as being very simple. It is very easy to use. So it's just making sure that they know how to use that.
You covered all angles. Wow.
He has.
Amazing.
He covered
I
the
love that,
privacy,
man.
which I'm always worried about. The remote people, I'm always representing the people and how easy it is for the elders. My granny, who I always tell everybody is like 94 now. So I'm happy, Paul.
Yeah. I'm in terms of sort of it's just a question that's been rolling around in my head. I'll just jump it on you quickly, Dave. In terms of measuring return of investment, outcomes employers should expect in the first 90 days, first contact resolution, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what we do is we look at engagement. We provide reporting back to the companies as to who has been active on the system. I mean, it's not specifics. We're not telling them Joe. Paul's been using it 10 times a day now.
For ABC.
Yeah. So, but it's sort of generalized data that they're getting as to who is registered, who's verified themselves, and what is obviously being the utilization. Yeah, and really a sort of I suppose a heat map when they're using it, frequency of that sort of thing. So the companies are able to then see that. Obviously, they're seeing the sick notes and things that come through. So I think it gives them a sense of value that they start seeing. If they're not seeing that, that's also great, because obviously you are providing access, and it's something that you do need to monitor and watch.
If people want to go and check it out, where do we find you?
www.carefirst.co.za. As easy as
that.
And
Firstly, thank you for the solid playbook for employers and employees, I think.
Good.
I think our people can catch this. Will be on YouTube.
Absolutely, yes.
Will be on YouTube.
Time,
So if you missed it here on air live, you can obviously always go back. And there's many other topics that we've covered.
100%.
Courtesy of CareFirst.
If you'd like,
great. Well, thank you.
If you'd like to catch up, for our new listeners, you can pop onto YouTube, and the First Care group of companies is the YouTube page. Go and have a look at all 9, or in this case, all 10 episodes.
All 10 now.
That's
10.
10. A round number.
A round number. Thank you. No, and really, thank you so much, and really enjoying
Dave, thank you.
Medical
for your time. If you have any questions post-interview, 0842212919, and we will relay them to the doctors and get them to you. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, sir.
No medical question.
Okay, are you married?
Yes.
I thought I'd catch him off, but I didn't.
Good.
Need trusted insight into the future of healthcare? Join us every Monday at 1:15 p.m. for Medical Mondays on 91.9 FM. Brought to you by First Care Solutions. We unpack real issues with real experts. From virtual consultations to the innovations redefining patient care in South Africa. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit www.firstcare.solutions for more. First Care Solutions, putting healthcare first.